wee hours of the night after midnight. I don't know exactly what time it is. I decided to speak on this particular subject because I already knew somebody was going to eventually ask me about this and ask me to speak on this. So I'm going to give my honest opinion on the boycotts and the new movement. The Hey, Nipsey said this a while ago, all money in, no money out. And it is time to explore, financial independence and self reliance. It is time to put money back into our communities and build our communities and build generational wealth for us. As I said before, what's going on, man? What's up, CB? Chicago in the building. As I said, oh, hey, CB, I forgot to tell you, I'm working on trying to get an interview with that black owned grocery store in Forest Hills. So they contacted me. So stay tuned. I know Forest Hills is about an hour away from Chicago. So they contacted me. We trying to set something up. So if the schedules match, you know, we'll see what's up. So yeah, my boy CB in the building. So Chicago in the house. Um, but yeah, CB, I'm gonna text you too, man. I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna hit you on the horn too. Um, so yeah. With that being said, so I'm gonna give my opinion on the boycott. I'm for it. I'm for it, and I think, and here's the thing: far too many times we've seen this go on with people disrespecting us, ridiculing us, emulating us, profiting off of us, and then at the same time had unmitigated gall not to respect us and not to like us. So now people are going to feel the brunt. Keep in mind, you see the dude, with the hat on. He was a couple of weeks ago talking out the side of his ass, talking about he dare us to boycott and all this kind of stuff. Well, you know, we gave him what he was asking for. He wanted smoke, and we came with the flamethrowers. Now, for the people that's sitting up here saying that you don't fight racism with racism and all that kind of stuff, it isn't about that. And as a black man, I didn't had enough of people sitting up here trying to make us feel guilty about wanting to help each other. We will not feel guilty anymore. Because here's the thing, ask yourself this: how come we don't have a district that represents us, our history, our culture, and things for our people? And then when we do try to get it, something always happens. You got people speaking on it who ain't got no business speaking on it. Here's the thing: you want to talk about to say that is racist and all this stuff to spend with black people. Well, okay. How come y'all? Well, then if that's the case, then how come y'all got a Chinatown? How come y'all got a Korean town? How come y'all got a Japan town? And then if you come to Oakland, if you look at my area where I'm from, the Dubs, from the Dubs all the way to, especially East 14th, I think they call it International. Basically, if you look at, from 23rd going towards um, pretty much High Street or a little bit past High Street, headed towards Seminary, that whole area is, pretty much a district for Hispanics and particularly Mexicans. Why don't we have something that celebrates us? Why don't we have our own districts? And like I said, we tried to do it many moons ago, and with Rosewood, Seneca, New York, other places, and miraculously they ended up getting bombed, flooded, or basically they found a way to railroad the people out of those areas. We wasn't allowed to, you know, we wasn't allowed to build generational wealth, but it has to start. And keep in mind, people kept telling us to build our own stuff, get our own stuff. Okay, well, we're going to do it. Now, I'm going to say this, and this is just real talk. Me growing up in Oakland, California, I'm going to keep it 100. Um, I ain't really never had no incident with no Asians really. Cause one, I really don't align myself with them or hang around them or deal with them unless I have to. Don't have no issues with them. Don't dislike them. It's one of them situations. I'm only around them when I'm put in a position where I have to, you know, deal with them, whether it's business or something else. That's pretty much it. I don't kick it with them. I don't hang around them and none of that kind of stuff. Just like, when they were sitting up here lying on black people. And this is the thing. And this is real talk. On a side note, I'm going to say this much. A lot of y'all are cosplaying the whole black fatigue thing. I've seen a lot of videos where y'all were once again jumping on the bandwagon, like a lot of other these groups looking for white acceptance, jumping on that black. And basically, people took the whole black fatigue thing and rearranged it, redefined it like they always do, just like they redefine the definition of woke. And then people sitting up here talking about they got black fatigue, but then they'll say we're racist. And then you're saying, oh, well, don't generalize one group of people. We've been generalized our whole lives, generation to generation, perception of how we've been portrayed. Are there some black people are there bad black people in the world? Of course they are. Just like there's terrible white people, there's terrible Asian people, there's terrible non-black people. But when you specifically just tie anything evil to one group of people, nah. And then you expect us to just own that? Nah. We're not going to do that. We're not doing that. And we're not going to let you get away with it. We're not going to let you get away with it. Like I said, if you have this, I'm going to say this again, if you have this black fatigue, and see, here's the thing, y'all busted. A lot of y'all are busted. Y'all talking about y'all got black fatigue. Okay, well, if you got black fatigue, then you should be fatigued with our money, right? So we gonna take our money elsewhere. And then the whole situation, what it was coming anyway. It was coming anyway before the situation with what happened with young Cyrus. It was coming anyway. It was discussions about this anyway. But what happened with young Cyrus just basically just made everybody, jump into basically six or fifth speed and hit that freeway like, yeah, it's on. That was just basically it. All we needed was that to just like ignite it, and that's what happened. The activation button got pushed. And then when you hear about Rick Chow and his history, that Rick Chow had 2 previous incidents where he had shot at people, which means the dude had an issue with being trigger happy. And I don't care whether young Cyrus had a weapon or not. He didn't show his weapon in the store. That's a totally different conversation. At the end of the day, you accused him of stealing something. He didn't steal something. And so what if he stole a $2 bottle of orange juice? All you had to do is tell him, or whatever, water. All you had to do is ban him from the store. You literally chased him. You literally chased him. It wasn't even that serious, because that's the thing. In most stores, malls, department stores, most businesses, they have a no chase policy. If you catch like at Walmart for the most part and Target and places like that, they basically catch you or Winco grocery stores, mostly loss prevention for the most part. They catch you before you get it out the door. They do not want you to get out the door. They most places just have a no chase policy for just obvious reasons, safety reasons, etc., etc. They feel like it's better to catch them before they get outside because once you get outside into the parking lot, then all bets are off. At least within the store, you can maintain and control the environment to some extent. But once you get outside to the parking lot, anything could happen. And I'm gonna say this again, and for the people that sit up there that were making remarks about all black people do is steal. Well, if you check the data, most shoplifters are white women. Once again, white people rank number one in every major statistical crime. And my thing is, what I find ironic about this situation is they sitting up here, and then they tell us that we need to educate ourselves and we need to do more research, but then they don't even know how to look on the FBI's most wanted database. And this is just common information. This is just common information. And I mean, it's just routine information that you can just look up yourself. It doesn't take, you don't have to do extensive research. But yeah, um, from what everybody's saying, that the boycott are working, and I wouldn't even call it a boycott. It's basically transferring funds. And once again, it's our money, our choice. You can't tell us where and who to spend our money with. Because here's the thing, we've made everybody else millionaires, billionaires, but then if you look, there is a lack of black enterprise. And it's time to make us billionaires. And then we sit up here endorsing and patronizing these businesses, and they don't do nothing for us. They don't give nothing back in return. They don't even want us there really, but they just want our money. So I'm okay with this. I'm in full support of this. You can't sit up here and say, well, you're generalizing a whole group of people. Why are you making everybody pay for what one person did for what one person had? Well, how many times have we been how many times have we been categorized and how many times have we been made to pay for somebody's actions? How many times have they grouped us into one category? And it all comes down and it all trickles down to how we are portrayed on television, film, you know, music, which I'm gonna talk about that later on. I'm gonna do a separate video where I'm going to discuss basically the song, which I think that song is Hot Garbage by Young Miami, I guess that's her name. The song Spin Shit, and how problematic that song is. And this is what I mean. Like I said, it's all tied into one. People can sit up there and say that is just entertainment, but a lot of people see those movies and they assume that's how we all are. Listen, every group has stereotypes to a certain extent. That's true. But one thing about me, the biggest thing that has hurt the black community is assumption. That's the damn problem. That's been a problem for a long time. And people just assume a whole bunch of things about us. Just like okay, I saw Some Asian men make this remark about, you know why they celebrate Juneteenth? Because that's some holiday where you might actually see a father. See, and that's the thing. Once again, the stereotyping. You know, the stereotyping of just assuming that black men are not involved in their children's lives. I've been involved in my son's life since he's been on this planet. 27 going on 28. I talk to my son pretty much every day. Okay. Even when me and his mother split up when he was like 2 years old, I've been involved in his life. And mostly all the people that I deal with, they had a father or some type of father figure in their life, because you do need that balance and that structure. Here's the thing: Carmelo Anthony had a two-parent household. For the most part, young Cyrus, his parents were around. So once again, that's just a stigma. You watch these TV shows where a lot of these black dudes or people say, "Oh, well, I don't know where my father is," and all that kind of stuff. And I hate it, and it bothers me, and it pisses me off. All the dudes I know are active in their children's life, all the brothers that I know. So once again, it's a stereotype. But stereotyping has really hurt the black community, and basically have unfairly, you know, portrayed us in an unflattering way. You know, I mean, people are entered. Like I said, we're the best entertainers on the planet. Even though people are entertained by us, they still have this assumption. Some call it fear or whatever when it pertains to us. So, like I said, as far as the boycotts go or whatever, we're not going to call it boycotts. We're going to call it transfer of economic power. But to sit up there and say, well, you're being racist because you won't spend your money with us. Like I said, we got to stop falling for that. Well, I don't play into that. But then, like I said, you always gonna have some Negroes that's gonna sit up here and basically, coon it up for views and all that stuff and say that um we're no better than them and all that. I ain't trying to hear that stuff. I ain't trying to hear that stuff. Stay on that side. You know, if you on that goofy stuff, and a lot of these dudes, I keep telling you, they're disingenuous. They don't believe the stuff that come out their mouth. They're playing a character. They're cosplaying. They're gaslighting. They know who they target audience is. They know who it is. They been knowing. They're like, okay, well, if I come across, create this persona, I'm gonna create this character that no matter what the situation is, even though it's just undebatable proof that it's not the black person's fault, I'm gonna still find a way to make it the black person's fault. And then people act like they don't understand the definition of sellout. That's what a sellout is: basically selling out, basically selling BS to people. I don't even see how some of these dudes can wake up in the morning and be contempt with the fact that they are throwing their own group of people under the bus for clicks, likes, and money. I just can't see myself doing this. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, hey, that's kind of funny when you think about that, whether you joking or not about the whole Menace to Society thing. That's basically the mentality. And the funny thing is, she's following the dude around the store and, still talking stuff. Well, but that's what we've been going through. And like I said, most of the thieves, the shoplifters, have pale skin. Because I'm gonna tell you, in the Bay Area, this is just real talk. In Oakland, they ain't really very many Korean owned like liquor stores out here. Most of the liquor stores out here are owned by Arabs. Arabs, then, you know, a few you know, maybe a few of them, some of them are black owned, a few. And then there's, like I said, I just haven't really seen any Korean or Asian owned liquor stores in the black community. Um, Not of late. A lot of them sold their businesses and went elsewhere. Most, like I said, in Oakland, most of the liquor stores that I seen, that I went, like, it's a liquor store like literally a 2 minute walk. That if I walk outside my door, I can literally see the building, and it's owned by Arabs. Arabs, Pakistanians, some Indians. That's about it. So I haven't really seen too many Korean owned stores or Asian owned stores, unless it's a supermarket and it's not in what you would call a quote unquote black neighborhood. Now, as far as restaurants go, well, okay, well, different story. But I'm just telling the truth. But yeah, so I'm just telling you my story. So that's what I've seen, but I'm keeping it 100. Um, and I'm gonna come with some more statistics. Um, Most of the, in 2020, when we were restricted, like I said, that was just a horrible time. You know, when what was going on when we were under lockdown, and they're talking about the hate crimes and all that stuff. Well, here's some more facts for you. White people, in particularly white men, are ranked number one in hate crimes. And if you look at those so-called hate crimes that were being committed against Asians, they were being committed by primarily white people. And then I remember there was, and see, you have to understand, the media, mainstream media, plays a role in this too. They're the biggest gaslighters and projectors there is. We already know that they have a narrative that they like to push, and that's one of their narratives. Remember, Fox specialized in that. They went out of their way to single handedly always try to blame black people for anything that went wrong. They were known for that. You know, Rupert Murdoch, fuck you. But yeah, they were known for that. That was their specialty, to try to demonize black people at all cost. And unfortunately, when you have people, and the funny thing is, when you have white faces like presenting these stories and talking about a so-called crime mode, this is what the guy looked like. Remember, this is how mainstream media works. They were some of the biggest brainwashers out there, and they were very good at mind manipulation, until social media came along to debunk and expose a lot of their lies. That's why mainstream media do not like social media or internet media, because now people have a second option. So now we strictly don't have to go by what they present. You have to understand. Remember this. And how many times have you seen this? Whenever there's a situation, okay, whenever there's a situation where, let's just say, the black person is the victim, a white person does something, or a non-black person does something to a black person, and the black person is the victim, they will try to dig up whatever dirt they can to try to character assassinate. They will say, "Oh well, this is a person that was this was a person that was whatever," but to cast doubt and try to make the person that's white or non-black look like, well, maybe he had a reason. And then and then the person that happens to be white primarily, and they love to do this with white people primarily. They will say, they will use the very talking points to demonize blacks to get sympathy. They will say, well, young John Forrester, he just came up from a tough upbringing. His parents were this and that. They want you to feel sorry. That's pretty much what they did with George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. And then here it is with Jeff Metcalf. Jeff Metcalf has been arrested for sexual assault. He has a very sketchy history, but yet they're not using that against him. They're not even really talking about it. And he's been very selective on what media outlets he chooses to talk about this situation. But from my knowledge, Carmelo Anthony's parents don't have like a questionable history, and neither does Carmelo Anthony. Well, I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have reacted like that. And see, that's what they want you to do, because they'll be like, see, this is how they are. But here's the thing: we got to start return the fire. We got to start doing them like how they do us. So at the end of the day, for the people that's sitting up here talking about, well, that's not fair. Why are all of us agents catching strays? Well, here's the thing: we didn't caught strays. We didn't been napalmed. We've been bit with dogs, attacked by dogs. We've been hit with tear gas. We didn't caught strays, hollow points, napalm. We didn't caught everything unfairly. But now you wanted to pretend like I'm just keeping it 100. I don't be thinking about them. Just like there was a situation in New York where this black man, he had to lay hands on some Asian dude, and the Asian dude tried to do I don't know what happened. He just got he just beat me up for no reason, and he tried to assume, but then come to find out that he started it, and he was calling the man out his name, and basically the man ended up putting hands and feet on him and giving him the Kendrick Lamar, the boom bup bing bup boom bup bam, because you know and then again witnesses came forward. Well, Boston, I mean, what you expect? I mean, come on, man. What do you expect? This is Boston that we're talking about. We know Boston is historically one of the most racist cities to ever come about. Boston has a hair. I mean, Boston has a disturbing, horrible history. I mean, keep in mind, Mark Wahlberg is from there. But as I said before, I think situation we need to keep this we need to keep this going. And I'm gonna say this again, once again, um, XA, you do not have to explain yourself to anybody. You do not have to tell people or get permission. Hey, I'm gonna go spend my money over here with the. Is it okay if I spend money with people that look like me? Once again, you can't sit up here talking a gang of shit and then expect not to be. And I like the way we're handling this. We're fighting with our wallets and not with our fists. Because keep in mind, they say that's all we good for doing. They're saying basically um, we can't be civilized. Well, we are showing that we can be civilized. We're basically, walking out of their businesses and walking into businesses owned by people that look like us. And I would say this: anybody that comes across this stream, if you are a black business owner, if you are interested in coming on my channel to do a segment or whatever and advertise your business, hey, feel free, spread the word. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to apply pressure. You got to show people that you mean business. And I like the way we handling this. We don't need to we don't need to use no weapons. We need to use our fists. We need to walk out of their businesses and walk towards our businesses. We do not give a damn about what they talk about. We don't give a damn about them trying to make us feel guilty. Do anybody feel guilty when something get did to us? Here's the thing: enough of giving your money to people that don't like you and don't respect you and don't appreciate your business. Everybody categorizes us and puts us into one group. So, I mean, why can't we do it? Exactly. My thing is, why can't we do it? Because I'm about to go on my channel. I'm about to go on my channel on Instagram. I'm gonna go on my Instagram page and I'm gonna start advertising like strictly for black business owners, because we need to let people know where these businesses are, and we need to let them know that they exist. They need to feel the brunt of what happens when you constantly disrespect us. And then there's people saying, "Hey, we didn't can we didn't we didn't give dude a pass." Yes, you did. A lot of y'all were taking up for Rick Chow. Not only were you taking up for Rick Chow, you were mocking us, like they always try to do. I'm gonna say this again. Doesn't matter. Thing with Same thing with Carmel. Doesn't matter whether he had a knife or shouldn't have had a knife. Texas law says that he was old enough to have a knife. How are you trying to make something suspicious when it's routine? It's legal for a 17-year-old to carry a knife. It just has, as long as it meets guidelines on how many inches or how long it can be, it's you're not going to get in any type of trouble. And it wasn't illegal to bring it on campus or wherever that was or wherever that stadium was. And more footage is starting to show up with now the person named Eddie, where he changed his clothes or he took off his clothes, which could have possibly had some kind of DNA evidence or blood or whatever the case may be. So, but that's another video for another day. Get back to the Carmelo Anthony case later on, because I still have a lot to say about that. But I felt that the need to address this situation needed to happen. Once again, black people, this is your damn money. And I'm going to say this again: who the fuck is anybody to tell us where we can spend our money? Who the hell do you think you are? Where do you get off telling black people? But then again, that's the problem. We have provided too many open spaces in public spaces for people, for outsiders to think they can give their opinion on us in subject matter pertaining to us. And it's time to close the door. And it's time to push their asses out the door. Once again, it's time to focus on just melanated people, our movements, our goals. And we got to stop making people, we got to stop giving people the power to think that they can make us feel guilty about it. You don't owe nobody an explanation. You don't owe no outsiders. You don't have to explain to anybody why you want to spend your money with people that look like you. The hell with them. Well, that's what I'm here for. I mean, you need to tell them companies that you discovered them because of me, and you need to tell them companies to get at me. And the thing is, here's the thing. Here's the thing with me. I don't ask for anything in return. I do it on the strength. I don't ask for any money. I don't ask for free stuff. I don't not like, I don't do that kind of stuff. Because I feel I feel that I'll get it in return one way or another. I feel like I can pay it forward. I feel like eventually the good karma will come my way. Yeah, I heard about the situation that happened with the young at Walmart, and I'm definitely gonna address that as soon as I do more research. If you talk about the situation where they accused the mother of stealing diapers and come to find out she had her receipts and everything, and that was just absurd for you to fire shots at somebody over some. Come on, man. And that's what I mean. But this is what I'll be telling you. Why is it that it's okay for everybody to react with violence towards us? But then if we react with violence, then all of a sudden it's the worst thing, or we supposed to turn the other cheek. We are just supposed to just sit up there and take it. But nobody is ever questioned, when they act in a violent fashion towards us. Nobody says, well, you should have tried to talk it out. Everybody always say, oh, well, it didn't have to come to that. Oh, okay. Cool. Everybody else has the right. This is what I'm saying. Everybody has the right to exercise their Second Amendment rights, or everybody is allowed to defend themselves against us. But then if we do it, all of a sudden it's a murder, it's this, that, is everything except what the law states. I've been doing this far too long. I've been on this planet 51 fucking years. There's nothing that I haven't seen. There's nothing that I haven't seen that surprises me. I learned to stop being surprised a long time ago. And like I said, this started with them. They sat up there and dared us. They said we wasn't gonna do it. We did it. And then to this idiot, in the thumbnail, first of all, y'all don't make no Jordans. Okay? Excuse me, you don't own Jordan. It's owned by white people. And another thing, they make sneakers everywhere. They just don't make them in Asia. They make them in India. They make them even though India is considered part of Asia to a certain degree, but I'm talking about categorizing, Koreans in the Chinese. But Jordans and Nikes are made in India, they're made in Mexico, they're made in a lot of different places. So the funny part about it was he forgot that Nike is owned by white people. So, okay. But anyway, you guys, I just wanted to speak on this. I'm definitely going to speak on informant Curtis Jackson and the recorded phone call, the alleged recorded phone call with Al Heyman and Leonard Ellaby. Out. Appreciate you guys.